Good evening and a very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Football Out West show. It is episode 98, season 4. And my name is Tonchi Prusak, and joining me tonight is Steve Curtin, and we may get the third member of our little pack joining us later on. He's off-site, Steve, Craig Filer, that is. And he may be joining us a little bit later on in the second half. Mate, how are you today on a wintry Sunday's afternoon, evening?
Oh, sorry. There we go. I'll unmute myself. Yeah, very good. Thanks, Tonchi. Better when the mute button is not switched on. Had a good afternoon of football. Saw a top 6 clash this afternoon out at Olympic Village with our good friend Lockie Flanagan. So always enjoy doing a bit of commentary with him. In particular, when the game is a beauty, and that washed out graphic there is. Of course, as we discussed, that's
exactly.
Incorrect.
Yes, it's right. It is not right. That was the graphic earlier this afternoon from the Football Victoria site. Heidelberg United, Green Gully, washed out. It was indeed not washed out. We'll go through that a little bit later on in our news items. But we've got a massive show tonight, Steve. As I said, Craig Filer, he may be joining us a little bit later on. He is off-site at the moment, enjoying a little bit of R&R this weekend, but he's still going to manage to try and squeeze in an appearance a bit later on. Now, we're going to talk about our guests for tonight, but before we do that, a big shout-out to our major season sponsor, Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, home of Georgie's on Vista. They are our 2022 major sponsor. And I know it might get boring saying this over and over, week in, week out, but a massive thank you and a massive shout out to Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club for without their support, without their backing this year, we would more than likely not have been able to come out with the Football Out West show. Also, very, very special mention to our episode sponsor for tonight, the Balmoral Football Club, Balmoral FC, their senior men's team playing there in State League 5. We'll be talking about State League 5 football a little bit later on. And Steve, who will be joining us in our Club in Focus segment in these first 45 minutes from the Balmoral Football Club?
Yeah, well, some exciting guests from Balmoral coming on tonight. We've got, first up is ENVER MALKIC, the president from Balmoral FC. And a little later, we're going to speak to MURAT Kaya, who is the junior technical director at Balmoral there. So it's a club that I'm looking forward to finding out a bit more about, Tonchi.
Yeah, absolutely. A club that has been doing very, very well in State League 5 football this year. It may be at the bottom of the Football Victoria's rankings, I guess, as far as the state leagues goes, but it is a very ultra-competitive league and there's some damn good footballers strutting their stuff in that division. We'll find out a little bit more about that. Now, mate, when we talk about the other end of, I guess, of Football Victoria, the upper end of the clubs and some of tonight, we have got 3 of the biggest clubs in Victoria. We're going to have their presidents joining us, all talking about various things connected with their club. But mate, it just gets bigger and bigger. As we start to kind of steamroll towards episode 100, that milestone episode. Each week, we're just getting more and more bigger guests. Who have we got on tonight in our press box segment, if you like.
Yeah, like it's a good point you make. We're really getting towards the business end of the season in the football Victoria competitions, but also getting to the business end of our triple figure milestone as well, getting very close to that. But really good audiences the last few weeks, and I'm sure that these guests will draw a huge audience tonight because we've got the presidents of Caroline Springs George Cross, Mark Sultana, Preston Lions David CVETKOVSKI, and South Melbourne's Nick MAIKOUSIS. So some really big names to come on. Three of the biggest clubs in Victoria, arguably three of the biggest clubs in Australia. And
mate, after
not even arguably, they are. So
yeah.
Definitely, it's going to be a huge audience tuning in. So looking forward to your company over the next little bit of time where we speak to those three iconic club presidents.
Yeah. Now, after last week's huge effort when we had Dominic Montesano, the Brunswick Juventus president of a really rejuvenated Brunswick Juventus football club that competes in NPL2. We also had the coach of the Preston Lions women, Daniel Foden. Big news surrounding the Preston Lions women's team. We'll talk about that a bit later on with David CVETKOVSKI. But last week, we had so much feedback about a little-known club that is doing exceptionally well up in the northern suburbs, Uni Hill Eagles. They've taken out the men's state 4 competition, and their president, Fiz Ibrahim, joined us. And gosh, Fiz had us absolutely captivated by telling us the background to the Uni Hill Eagles. It was such an interesting story, a fascinating story. Well, today we've decided we're going to go north, west, and I guess slightly to the east, because today we're going to have the west covered with Caroline Springs George Cross, the north covered by Preston Lions, and then the east, if you like, or east of the Westgate Bridge, we're going to be covering South Melbourne. So, folks, a huge show coming on tonight. Do not go away. We're going to be back. We're going to have a little bit of a break now, if you like. We're going to have some of our sponsors say a few words. When we return, we've got a very, very quick news flash and news update, if you like, and then we're going to go to our very, very first guest, the president of Balmoral Football Club, ENVER, MALKIC. He'll be joining us shortly. Don't go away, folks.
You find authentic Maltese cuisine? At Georgie's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise. We have a menu to suit everyone, which includes kids and seniors meals, and a cocktail list that will need you to come back several times to get through. Our specialty nights are a big hit. Tuesday is $20 Palmer night with a selection of Palmers to choose from. Kids eat free Wednesday night. With every paid adult meal, you get one free kids meal. Thursday is Maltese night. Check out the Maltese specials on our specials board. And Friday night, we have happy hour between 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Be sure to book your table to avoid disappointment. Bookings can be made via our website, georgesonvista.com.au. See you at George's on Vista. You'll find us at Caroline Springs George Cross. Guzman Finance, Point Cook's professional and trusted mortgage broker. Using the latest technology powered by Australian Finance Group, their lender panel has over 30 institutions, including the major banks. Whether you're in the market for your first home, refinancing, renovating, or buying an investment property, contact Andreas on 0425 826 055 or visit their website at guzmanfinance.smartonline.com.au.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It is episode 98. It's our 4th season, Stephen. Let's start our news flash or news desk, if you like, with a good feel-good story, and it's to do with West Point Soccer Club. Now that that picture does not look like a feel-good story. Unfortunately, last Sunday, probably around about this time last Sunday, some idiot vandals came down to West Point's Soccer Club's ground there. At Tom Roberts Reserve. Is it Tom Roberts Reserve? Yeah. And they smashed some goals there. Monday morning, West Point came out with an appeal, basically, if anyone knew anything, to contact the local police station. And then, I guess, the bright side of that was that people stepped up to help out, club sponsors, and there we see all pumps, Simon and Steve. There was a post that West Point made. What a week we've had here at West Point. The overwhelming support we received from the local community was truly appreciated. We are extremely grateful to Simon and Steve from All Purpose Pumps. They were able to bring the goal back to life and ready for this weekend games. Now, otherwise, if they had to buy new goals, like most clubs know, would have cost in the vicinity of $5,000 plus. So, a small club, a small community club like West Point, like anyone else for that matter. So it's great to see that West Point were able to get back on their feet, and they had very, very good club people and people out there that came out and basically rescued the goal. So that's a great feel-good story.
Steve, it is. Well, let's talk about the last man standing that's happening with Caroline Springs, George Cross. It's coming up. There's your details there. $7,000 major prize. That is Saturday, August the 13th. So only a couple of weeks away. $100 will get you in the draw.
Yeah, 350 tickets only available. Tickets are $100, and I'm told you can get a consortium together, but have a look at that. Major prize, $7,000. That's going to happen on Saturday, August the 13th, so in 2 weeks' time from 7 p.m. till late. I dare say that'll happen after the next home game, which will be probably the final home game, but we will find out a little bit more about that when we speak to the president of Caroline Springs, George Cross, Mark Sultana, a very, very welcome guest on this show anytime he pops up, and I'm sure he's got a lot to talk about off the field and on the field. There's so much to talk about. Before we get to that, though, mate, let's talk very, very, very quickly. Let's go through the Australia Cup results, some of the Australia Cup results. You have them on file there, do you?
Yeah, the round of 32 continued on Wednesday night, and Craig and I got out to Olympic Village and saw Brisbane Roar 3, Heidelberg United 1. It was a good crowd there. A couple of thousand people turned up for that one, and Brisbane looked like they'd spoiled the party when Ramak Akbari scored in the second minute. Costa Petratos leveled things up from the spot, though, for Heidelberg on 57 minutes, but then Henry Hoare, a player who we've seen in NPL Victoria in the past, and Nikola Milajuznic with a knuckleball free kick got the Brisbane Roar over the line. Some other results from Wednesday night were also probably the other exciting game was Green Gully going up to Wollongong United and beating the Illawarra Premier League side 3-2. They had to come from behind twice. A win for Adelaide City over Logan Lightning. Brisbane City 3-1 over Coburn City. That's one that you need to pronounce correctly. A bit more action as well.
That's right.
That's a bit more action yesterday. I've got that wrong before too. Bit more action yesterday as well. Daniel Arzani back for MacArthur in the A-League and scoring a penalty in the 6-0 win against Magpie Crusaders up there in, I think that was played in Mackay. Adelaide 2-0 over the Newcastle Jets. And just as we speak, Sydney FC has got over Central Coast Mariners 3-1 in a shootout there at that match that took place a little earlier. So, that was the thriller. So plenty of exciting matches to continue on. Melbourne City is going to play against Hamilton Olympic. That is up in Newcastle, I believe, on Tuesday night. Sydney United are going to host Monaro Panthers. Monaro Panthers.
Monaro Panthers from...
It's pronounced Monaro, isn't it? Yeah, Monaro.
Right? There you go.
Yeah, pronounced Monaro. It was famous for that by-election that took place there a year or so ago. Wednesday night... we've got the A-League champions versus the current Australia Cup holders, Western United against Melbourne Victory at Amy Park. Brenton Ray's glad that fixture has been allocated to a venue. And then, of course, Power against the Spirit. And down in Tassie, an interesting fixture. Davenport City against the Wellington Phoenix. Will we see any cup sets in these matches? Oh, let's hope so.
Oh, look! You can always you can live to dream. You can dream, I guess. That's the thing. We're running out of time, Steve. We got so much to get through. We were hoping to touch look at NPL 2 and State League 2 because we're not going to get a chance to do that tonight. If we find a little bit of gaps, we might be able to do that. But we're just
Sure,
going
we can
to
fit
have
those
to
in somewhere.
race through at the moment. We're going to take a very, very quick commercial break, folks. When we return, it's time for our Club in Focus. And this week, we're going to be profiling our episode sponsor for this week, Balmoral FC. Don't go away, folks. We've got ENVER MALKIC, the president of Balmoral FC. He's in the green room. He's making his way up the corridor and he's about to take his seat. And we are going to talk to the president about all the latest at this Western suburban club. Don't go away, folks.
George's on Vista is in the heart of Fraser Rise. You'll find us at Caroline Springs George Cross. Looking for a bit of fun with your meals? Tuesday night is bingo night. Bingo books are $2, eyes down at $7. And we have a special bingo menu for you to choose from, so be sure to get in early and grab a bite to eat beforehand. Friday night is poker night. Registration is from 6:30pm, with poker starting at 7:30pm. Why not join us beforehand for happy hour? Kicks off at 5:30. We're also on Uber Eats, so you can enjoy your favourite Georgie's meals in the comfort of your own home. Find us on the app. Dining in? Be sure to book your table to avoid disappointment. Bookings can be made via our website, georgiesonvista.com.au.
Welcome back to the Football Hour Show. It's time for Club in Focus. And this week, Steve, our club is a club that's supported by the Bosnian community in the western suburbs of Melbourne. And it's known as Balmoral FC, or Jerzeles, as it's nicknamed as well. And to find out a little bit more about this club, let's now talk to the president. We're going to bring the president. He is the of Balmoral FC, ENVER MALKIC. ENVER, welcome to the Football Out West show. It's an absolute pleasure to have Balmoral FC previewed in tonight's episode.
Thanks, Tonchis. Thanks, Steve. Good to be on the show. Let's get going.
Let's get going indeed. Tell us a little bit about the history of the club. Tell us a little bit about, the club itself, how many players, how many teams. We know the senior men's team is doing very well in State 5. Tell us a little bit more about the club as a whole.
Well, the club started in 1995, the same year that I was born, maybe about a month before then. It started with my dad and a couple of his boys. They started up the club, and the name Jerzeles, it came from a club in Sarajevo. They started the club in between World War I and World War II originally, and that club folded when the Second World War started. And then there was another club, Jerzeles, from Zenica, which is about an hour from Sarajevo, and one of the founders of the club recommended us to use that name as the Bosnian name originally. So we started using Jerzeles as the original club name, and the English name was Brimang City at the time. And so the club's been existing for 27 years. We're a small club. You can't compare us to the big clubs like your Georges, your Preston. We're a small club. We're a tight-knit community. At the moment, we've got 11 teams in total. We've got 8 junior teams, so under 7s all the way to the under 14s. We've got an age group. We've got a team in each of those age groups, and we've got seniors, our reserves, and our metro team. Our seniors were doing really well up until yesterday. We had a very poor performance against West Point, compared to when you compare them to the last 5-6 games that we had beforehand. So we won a good roll until then, and credit to West Point. They held us out well as well. They didn't allow us to play our normal brand of football, and you finished 1-1 yesterday. So now we're about 5 points behind the top 2 teams with 2 games to go. So it looks unlikely that we'll finish in those top 2 positions.
It is a tough division, that one. Only one club automatically gets. In fact, only one club gets promoted from State That should be State 5, not State League 3. bit
They'll
of
take
a
State League 3
typo
if
there.
you'd like to offer Enver. I'm sure he'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. That could be, promotion. Exactly.
I think that's not updated either. We're on 20. We've played 20 and we're on 44 points at the moment.
44 points, is that right? Okay, well, there you go. That's the updated then on 44 points. So, yeah, look, Barwon looking very, very formidable there. A 10-0 win last night over Surfside Waves. Christian Mann scoring 3 goals to take his tally to something like 26 goals for the season. Look at that, 90 goals. They've got an unbelievable strike force. But Melton Phoenix, they are in second spot just by virtue of an inferior goal difference. So it really is neck and neck there as far as the top two are concerned. But yeah, look, unfortunately, it's just one team that gets promoted. Does that mean now, Enver, you've already sort of started your kind of planning for next season as well? Or is it just a case of let's see out this season, take a bit of a break, and then we'll start thinking about the club, the next season, maybe later this year or early next year? How, as president, do you go about it now?
Well, we're going to sit down with the coaching staff on Tuesday. We've already started talking about what we're going to do. Like promotion is looking unlikely. We've been very unlucky, actually, because in 2019, when we first put in Serge as our coach, he's done a tremendous job since he's come in. We got relegated in 2018 and we changed the coaching department. And that season, we were actually very unlucky. I think after 6 games, we were second last or third last. And then from round 7 onwards, we won 13 out of the remaining 15 games, and we missed out promotion by 1 point against Barnstoneworth, who we beat twice that season. And we also had 2 games that we drew. We conceded last-minute goals against Melton, which was a night game, and against Melbourne Greens at the time. In 2020, we had a very good squad lined up for the season, but COVID hit, so not even 1 game was played. And last season as well, we hit form at the right time. Yep. And I think we were third, 1 point behind second at that time, and we were due to play Killer Wolves, who were 7 points behind. And then COVID hit again, the lockdown, and then same this year. We've only lost 2 games this season, which is less than Barwon and Melton. But the thing is, the draws have hurt us this season. And when we played Bendigo and Lara 2 months ago, we were leading up until the last minute, and we conceded 2 late goals. So that's hurt us as well.
Yeah, when it's so tight at the top.
Definitely is very tight at the top there. And the club is, as you say, about the exact same age as yourself. A lot of love for you in the comments from members of the club. Tell us a bit about your journey to the president's seat there at Balmoral, and what you've done at the club along the way, and I guess why you love being there in that role.
Well, I was a junior at the club since the under 13s. I think up until then I was playing at Green Gully. I was a goalkeeper, and up until 2015 I was in the senior team when I was young, when I was 17, 18, 19, and then I moved to Sydenham Park State 1 in 2015 and 2016. I was the first choice keeper there. And then I decided to come back to the club because I was a bit too busy with my business that I purchased just here in Carly. And I didn't have much time to go to training 3 times a week and games. So that took a toll. And then, I was just playing back at Balmoral. And then up until 2019, I became secretary as well at the club. I was there for about 2 years, and I was doing above and beyond what I was supposed to do for the role. I was pretty much doing everything as well at the club. And then at the end of last season, I'm just looking at the comments.
Me too.
Can we just have no swearing, please? In those comments, we're going to have to block people like that. So please, no swearing like someone's just put something in.
And then at the end of the last season, we changed our committee as well. So we've got a young committee. Everyone's about my age, mid-20s to late 20s. We had an AGM at the end of November last year. Everyone voted me to be in the president. And just ever since, we've got a small committee. There's literally only like a handful of us that do everything around the club when it comes to canteen, admin roles, uniforms for the kids, setting up the sizes. There's not many of us. We've got a big support base. At games that can't people spend their money at the canteen and all that. But when it comes to like volunteering, helping out behind the scenes, it's really hard. We're there Tuesday, Thursday, games on Saturday, games on Sunday. So yeah, and I reckon I'm doing not bad in the role so far. I'm hoping to continue into next season, and yeah, we just need a bit more support from our community, and everyone knows that. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
before we do go any further, yeah, just a little bit. We've got some really good viewing numbers tonight. Just a little bit of a community announcement to all of our viewers. When you are commenting, please refrain from any derogatory comments or any swearing. We do have kids as well tuning into this as well, and we are a very, very cultured show. So if this doesn't, if you can't appreciate that, please leave. Okay, sorry, Steve.
Look, let's talk a bit about the facility there. You're in Derrimut at Balmoral Park there as well.
Yep.
How's things going with the club facility wise? Is it a facility that suits you and the club at the current time? And also, you mentioned the canteen. I hear that there's a pretty good Chavapi roll available at the canteen there as well.
Yeah, we sell our Chavapi, comes in a small and large portion. We've got the burgers, which we call Pleskovica, So we sell a lot of those on Saturdays. But yeah, when it comes to the facility, we've got 2 pitches. We just recently, last season, we were playing like north and south of the field, and now we changed it, heading east and west, so it's easier for the spectators to watch the game, because up until then, the goals are literally on the other side of the oval, and you can't see the goal on that side. So we changed the pitch. But the thing is, we've still got a cricket pitch in the center of the oval, and it's on the main pitch where the seniors play on the sideline, but it gets covered up by the synthetic turf by the council. But we're in talks with the cricket club and the council for them to move the cricket pitch about 3-4 meters to the side, and that way it will be in between the senior field and the junior field. But there's a lot of work to do then with the costs and stuff, So our seniors are also playing up until last year night games. We were playing 7 p.m. games. However, last year we did the audit. The council did the audit, and for some reason it failed. And ever since, we've been trying to work with council for it to pass the minimum criteria. And yeah, we've been unlucky last year and this year in terms of that. And 3 p.m. kickoffs are okay, but it doesn't suit our community that want to come watch football, and also our staff. It's very hard. Some people work Saturdays, and people want to watch the football Saturday night, So our crowd numbers haven't been that great this season. So hopefully we fix that up for next year.
That seems to be sort of that seems to be something that a lot of clubs, particularly clubs from migrant communities, often say Saturday afternoons is a really difficult time, because a lot of people are involved in, small businesses working for themselves, and Saturday happens to be one of those days as well. Enver, let's talk about a book that was published recently about the club, as you said, 30-year history of the club plus. This is a book by a well-known, he's involved with the Bosnian community there in Melbourne, Agin Dobruna, Jerzeles Tosmomi, Jerzeles We Are That. Tell us a bit more about this book, and how can people who are interested in this book get their hands on this copy?
So credit to Agim, I've got the book right here. He's been working on it for years, It's about 250-page book, and it's got literally our whole history. But at the moment, it's only available in Bosnian, so we haven't got an English translation. I'll have to see with him if he can work on that. But it's got literally from 1995 up until 2020, all our results from the seniors and some junior teams in there. There's photos of past players, ex-players, present players. Everything's in here. Our former women team as well, which we had in 2003, 2004, and 2012, I believe. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting book. I know a lot of people in our community aren't even aware that this book exists. So yeah, if you want a copy, come down to the club or reach out to our Facebook page, give me a message, and we can work something around it for sending you a copy or two.
Sounds like a great idea. So if you are interested in it, you are able to read Bosnian, definitely make sure to get your hands on that. Santino Mamone, our good friend from Karayo Soccer Club. A big shout out to Ardian Veljan as well, who's involved down at Karayo Soccer Club. Santino, he's always promoting this show, and he's even now promoting other clubs as well. Like, he's just incredible. So big cheerio to Santino. Big cheerio to everyone joining us, especially if you're joining us for the very, very first time. Go over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you click and like and subscribe. And there's 4 seasons worth of interviews and past episodes, and we get to know a lot of little clubs that we otherwise wouldn't, like Balmoral. So we really appreciate ENVER, you coming on the show. Appreciate your support as well, mate. We're going to have to leave it there. Hopefully, MURAT is available. He's the junior technical director. He'll be joining us very, very shortly. We're going to take a little bit of a break. But, mate, is there anything else you'd like to say? Maybe a shout out to all your supporters and to the community in general. Your last home game, when is that? Give us a little bit of a plug.
Yeah, our last home game was actually yesterday, so that's it for our home games. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all our supporters, our fans, our members. We've got a big community out there. Everyone's been supporting us, either with the memberships which I've got here. So this is also new, which we implemented this year. For our members, we've got 30 signed up this year. We've got our fixture list for the season, and which is about $100. And we sort our members out with discount prices at the canteen with our Gisella's t-shirts as well. And I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors as well. NS All-Star Cabinetry, I'm pretty sure he's watching now. Shout out to him. All our other sponsors, Aquatex, MY Gifts, also Delight Fish, which is my store in Carly. And I think that's about it. And Murat will be talking more about our junior program. And thank you guys for the opportunity to do so.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you,
all the very, very best to you.
No worries. Thank you. Likewise.
Good on you. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. Very, very.
Looking for a space for your next function? At George's on Vista, our function room caters for all types of functions. Milestone birthdays, special religious occasions, work functions, hens or bachelor nights, baby showers, or whatever reason you decide is a good idea to get together with family and friends. Contact our friendly staff who will help you put together a menu that will suit your special occasion. Inquiries can be made via our website, georgesonvista.com.au. George's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise. You'll find us at Caroline Springs, George Cross.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. We were just speaking to ENVER MALKIC, the president of Balmoral FC, and now it's time to bring on MURAT Kaya. He is the junior technical director of Balmoral FC, and there we've got Muri on the screen now, adjusting the camera. Muri, welcome to the show. How are you? And thank you for joining us here on the Football Out West show. Oh no, we've got the gremlins. We can't. Hello? We are unable to hear you, mate. You might need to change it.
Is that better now?
That's better.
Yay. Yep.
Much better. Oh, we can even see a nice ceiling there.
Just extra time to get some good questions ready for Murray. All good. All good.
We'll just pop him in the background while he's getting himself organised. As folks, it's an absolute pleasure having Balmoral FC on the show tonight. And if your club would like, particularly now as we enter the towards the end of the season, if your club would like to be profiled in our Club in Focus, drop us an email at footballoutwest@gmail.com or private message us via our Football Out West Facebook page. And we've got Muri back on the back on. There he is. Towards the end of the season. And we're going to hear myself having a little bit of a.
You might need to just mute the PC.
Mute the,
there we go. I think
that
sounds good now. Murray, can you hear us now?
Hear us? We're going to have to just put him on
We're
the
definitely getting
and
a good look at that logo on the jacket there
we
of Balmoral FC.
yeah, we try.
He's
This is why
adjusting that, so I'm
yeah,
sure his
we do.
one or two of his friends are having a bit of a chuckle as he's getting sorted there, but we'll have him in no time, no doubt.
Yeah. So if you are a guest, we do ask you to come on before to test your connections and test your audio for this very reason. Now, look, we'll talk about while we're waiting for Murat to organise himself there. Here are some of the scores from the games played earlier today. Hopefully, we can get Murat on at least sound wise. Murat, can you hear us at least? Okay, we've got the scores there where we had under 7 Joeys. They played earlier today. The under 8 Wallabies Kangaroos, a good win there. Another good win over St Albans, which is a powerhouse in the under 9 Wallabies. It's great to see all throughout the mini roos. The Balmoral club is well represented. Steve, did you want to go through some of the other scores there as well? The under 10s, for example.
Yeah, so the other under 10s Wallabies, 3-1 loss to Caroline Springs, Georgia Cross. Under 10 Joeys, a 6-3 win over Williams Landing. Under 12 Joeys went down 5-3 to Yarraville. Under 13 C boys. I'm not sure if that's boys or girls. Under 13s went down 3-0 to Yarraville. Under 14 B, a 2-1 win against the visiting Gisborne, and the Metro guys, they lost 2-1 to Faulkner this afternoon. So that's the update of your around the grounds, I suppose, for your Balmoral FC this afternoon. So that's a lot of junior squads and also the Metro guys as well as their 2 Saturday teams. So yeah, look, they've got a fair bit happening at the club there, as you can see.
Absolutely. And Murat, who is having some sort of internet connection issues, or we may not be able to get a hold of him, unfortunately, tonight. He's also the under 8 Wallabies / Kangaroos team coach. He is pictured there with his squad, and it is great to see all of that coming along really well. Mate, it looks like we're not going to be able to get a hold of our junior technical director from Balmoral FC. In that case, Steve, let's go and have a look at NPL 2 Victoria. You were right. We are going to be able to get a chance to maybe have a little look at some of the other action happening around the state. Let's turn our attention to NPL 2 Victoria and look at some of the results that have happened since yesterday, since Friday, in fact.
Yeah, since Friday. Yeah, the round kicked off Friday night, the 8:30 game, Brunswick Juventus hosting Brunswick City. That match that by title or definition wasn't a derby, but has become a derby since the name change, of course, earlier a few weeks ago. That match at CV Smith ended in a 2-all draw. So the real hot form of Brunswick Zebras was halted there, I suppose, with that particular result. The important result in the context of the championship race was North Geelong getting a 2-1 win over Kingston at Alco Park yesterday. So a really good result for North Geelong to hang on. And they got a couple of early goals, Banavarts and Mikulic scoring both within 17 minutes. Marafiotti with a penalty for Kingston City in that one, according to Sports TG, which is good. Northcote City 1, Manningham United Blues 3. Manningham United, they're on a bit of a good run at the moment. And Lang Warren hosted the Goulburn Valley Suns. That was 3-1 in favour of Langy. So a good result there for Langy as they look to get through the season. Matthew Breeze scoring for Goulburn Valley Suns as well, as I was informed by Lockie Flanagan this afternoon. Some other results that took place. We had Moreland City and Werribee. That match, not on Sports TG, of course, but we can see Google Sports is telling us that one was 3-0 to Moreland City, so that result went to form. And then the other result we haven't got to, Bulleen Lions and Pascoe Vale. Well, there is no result yet because that is tomorrow night at the Veneto Club. That is a really good matchup, and yeah, it's a shame. I wouldn't mind getting along to see that one, but we'll be busy doing something else tomorrow night, won't we, Tonchi?
We will. We'll be doing the Geelong Region Soccer Show, folks, which will be simulcast live here on the Football Out West Facebook page as well. So we will be able to if you are following what is happening down the Geelong way, you'll be able to get a hold of that. And that game will be played tomorrow. The NPL 2 is going to go down to the wire. It's going to be a very, very thrilling climax. Only 2 more rounds to go. We're going to try and get Murat Kaya back on. It's the last chance. Murat, how are you? We've got him now.
Are we live now? Or?
Yeah, we are
indeed. Yes.
Exactly.
We've only got a few minutes, unfortunately, Murat. But tell us a little bit about your role, the junior technical director, and effectively what do you have to oversee, and what are you trying? What are some of the plans you've got in place for the juniors there at Balmoral?
Yeah, so like ENVER mentioned earlier on, they tried finding someone to fulfill this role at the start of the season, but unfortunately the club wasn't able to do so. We asked around a few people, and no one was really willing to put their hand up to step up to that role. Being one of the more experienced coaches at the club, I put my hand up, threw my hat in the mix, offered to help out, and ENVER willingly accepted my offer. So normally, at the start of the season, we would have liked to, set out a game, like a plan of attack, so that all the juniors can follow the same system from all the age groups downwards, same formation, same style of play. So, building up into the seniors level, so that when those players who are of age, who are able to play up at the seniors and reserves level, that they're following the same system of play as the seniors and resis are. But now, unfortunately, because we started halfway through the season, we thought we'll take a different approach to that tactic. So we changed that up a little bit. Now my duty is kind of assessing each team on an individual basis, and just trying to help them out till the remainder of the year to, find pretty much a tailored fit, a game of attack plan for the rest of the season to help them out for the remainder of the year.
The big question,
we're both talking at the same time again. Do you want me to go?
Yeah. Go, Steve.
So where do we sit now? The season is not too long till it wraps up. Sadly, we're going to maybe have a little bit more time in our hands. Is that a time when you'll sit back and do a review of how things went? And if you were to do a review, maybe how would you say things have gone, and what that might look like for next season?
Yeah, well, technically, I'm only 2 weeks into the job at the moment, so fairly fresh. This is the biggest role that I've taken on in my coaching career so far. I've done, under 15s and downwards, throughout the years before previously. So I'm kind of at the moment just trying to, prepare for next year as best as we can. We got the under 14s at the moment who are in promotion position. They're currently second on the table, 3 points behind first place. And I think they're about 4 or 5 points clear from third. So I'm putting a lot of focus into them at the moment. Try help the under 14s coach Jared to secure promotion from next year so that they can go from the Bs into the As, and working with each other coach on an individual basis as well, and getting them to, because a lot of the coaches at the moment this year at the club, it's only their first year coaching, so getting them to understand, not just the tactical side of things, but also large part of coaching is psychological part of things as well. Being able to break through to each individual player, and teaching them how to, guiding them and showing them how to kind of connect with each player on an individual basis and be able to bring them together as a team. So.
Mate, we had a look at that graphic there with all the different teams, and it seems to be really, really well filled up. From under 7s all the way up to under 14. So the process is there. It looks like it's the foundations have been set for an exciting future there at Balmoral FC. the big question, mate, are you going to put your hat in the ring to be the junior technical director next year? We know the president really well. We'll put in a good word for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. Like I said, this is the biggest position that I've fulfilled so far. I mean, I'm trying my best to impress ENVER and the rest of the guys over at Balmoral. Thankfully, they gave me this position and the chance to prove my worth. So, and I'm trying my utmost best at the moment to really fill those shoes. And so, yeah, most definitely. So I'd love to continue doing this next year as well.
Well, we wish you all the very best, not just for the rest of this year, but also for all your future endeavours. And thank you very much for being persistent and patient. It was a bit of a kind of a funny start, if you like, but in the end, it's very much smooth sailing, and we hope that is the case down at Balmoral, particularly with the junior development side of things. Mate, once again, thank you for joining us.
Most definitely. Thanks, guys. All the best.
Shout out. All the best.
And that concludes our Club in Focus segment for tonight. It was a very interesting one, bar all the technical issues that we had, and we seem to have that every week. Oh,
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, third world. We live in a third world country when it comes to technology and internet. But we still keep on going.
We do what we can do. Yeah.
We do, absolutely. Mate, we're going to now take a very, very quick commercial break. When we return, we will then continue with the second half of our show tonight. Craig will be joining us, hopefully, Craig Filer, all the way from sunny Queensland, the bugger.
I think it's raining, though, up there.
Yes. I hope that is the case, yeah. And also joining us will be the president of Caroline Springs, George Cross, Mark Sultana, a very, very welcome guest on this show anytime, and we look forward to catching up with Mark. We've got three massive clubs about to be profiled. Caroline Springs, George Cross, Preston Lions, and South Melbourne. Do they get bigger than this? Stay with us, folks. It's time to start the second half of the show.
You find authentic Maltese cuisine? At Georgie's on Vista, in the heart of Fraser Rise. We have a menu to suit everyone, which includes kids and seniors meals, and a cocktail list that will need you to come back several times to get through. Our specialty nights are a big hit. Tuesday is $20 Palmer night with a selection of Palmers to choose from. Kids eat free Wednesday night. With every paid adult meal, you get one free kids meal. Thursday is Maltese night. Check out the Maltese specials on our specials board. And Friday night, we have happy hour between 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Be sure to book your table to avoid disappointment. Bookings can be made via our website, georgiesonvista.com.au. See you at Georgie's on Vista. You'll find us at Caroline Springs, George Cross. Guzman Finance, Point Cook's professional and trusted mortgage broker. Using the latest technology powered by Australian Finance Group, their lender panel has over 30 institutions, including the major banks. Whether you're in the market for your first home, refinancing, renovating, or buying an investment property, contact Andreas on 0425 826 055 or visit their website at guzmanfinance.smartonline.com.au.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show, and joining us all the way from sunny Queensland, or is that rainy Queensland? Don't tell me he's having problems with his camera. Craig Fuller. Good evening, Craig. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, listeners. Hope everybody's well.
And how are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? You're up on the Gold Coast, enjoying it?
Yeah, I am, mate. We flew up late last night after our fixture, George Cross fixture, and got up here late about 11:30 last night, and spent the day just chilling. Had a bit of a swim and a sauna, a bit of a jacuzzi, bit of lunch, and now I've got to face you two. So that's
make it three, because
it evens out, mate. It evens
boss
out
on the show. We're going to bring your boss on the show. It's a very, very warm welcome to the president of Caroline Springs, George Cross, Mark Sultana. Mark, how are you? And it's an absolute pleasure seeing your smiley face. And I wonder why you're smiling on this Sunday evening.
I was. Can you hear me? Hopefully everything's all working.
Yep. Yeah.
All good, Mark.
I was chuckling at you're bringing Craig's boss. I don't know if anyone could be Craig's boss, actually, to be quite honest.
I don't think Heidi could be his boss, but to be quite honest. But yeah.
No, look. Look, I'm great, actually.
Comment.
What was that?
Don't know.
Push on, Mark.
Yeah. No, look, it's really great to be on again tonight. You can see by the amount of people that are listening tonight that again, amazing. 3 clubs, one at the pinnacle of it all, which is South Melbourne, and Preston, who we have been on a similar journey as David has. And I've got to say, a huge congratulations to David and that team at Preston. An amazing execution of a belief in a football club as iconic as what they are. So that's huge. And for us, again, it's we're very close, albeit some have probably gone a little bit early with the promotion thing. If we lose all 3 games and concede 16 goals, we won't get there. But as respect to those that are still fighting for it, we've got a taste of it and we love it and we can feel it. And I suppose the rise and the rebirth of this football club is making my year great. Bombers won today, which is great. So the women won from 2-0 down. Metro team won.
Good.
Mate, there's so much going on. It's crazy.
There is.
And you've got a big game coming up
photos.
this. We seem to
Let's
keep
talk
speaking
about
at the same
well
time.
before we get to
Keep
next
going.
week's game. Let's talk. Yeah, sorry, Steve. We seem to be once again.
It might
there's
be
a
our
little bit of
internet
that sort
speed
of,
is at fault.
Yeah. But anyway, let's look at some of the photos from yesterday's game. Mark, a good win there, 4-1 over Keilor Park. Some of the other results in the division as well. Essendon Royals 4-0 over bottom side Clifton Hill. Banyule City and Whittlesea United fought out a 0-0 draw. This is an interesting one. Sydenham Park, who are breathing down the neck of both yourselves and Essendon. Essendon City. They had a 2-1 win over Corio for Santino Mamone's team. We mentioned him a little bit earlier. 4-1 win over Strathmore earlier in the afternoon. And then Altona City went down to Yarraville Glory 1-0. So if we have a look at the ladder, very, very, very tight indeed. There at the top of the it's not very tight, so to speak. I should say it's very tight, kind of in that battle. Look, Sydenham Park, if they win their next 3 games, they could put a lot of pressure. But honestly speaking, presidents are never very, very confident. They're always, always worried, always concerned. You must be a degree of satisfaction with how the season has panned out so far, Mark.
Oh, absolutely. Look, last night there was probably short just of 1,000 people. I mean, the complete understanding of where this club was, where it is, where it can be. Everybody's slowly getting involved, and you got to think about. We never had a home. Juniors were never with us. We were a very separated football club. We put again, I wish Ed was around, but there's a lot going on, and everybody's been able to come together, execute what we believe is the right way to get this club where it needs to be. Our average age in what I call the under 21s, which are our reserve squad, was 17 and a half. It's been a complete transition from what we were, and you saw tears in people's eyes last night. Tasting how close it can be, and a rise of the football club that definitely needs to be an NPL. And you've got to thank everybody: Eric, Lisa, Darren, John Floris. There's so many people, so many things. I mean, I was there at 11 o'clock today because I had to have a meeting with a staff member in regards to planning on, the next few weeks in regards to events that are at our football club. And behind all that, there's 40 teams, including the senior team. And then the women were down 2-0. And I wanted to try and get there, but I got home and I actually sat on the couch and fell asleep. I'm being honest. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a big weekend and a big day yesterday, and a big 3 weeks ahead of us. So
there's the women. And tell us about the second half. Jeez, I think it was 2-0 down at half time or something like that. There we go. There's a posting there. Came back hard in the second half and have grabbed the 3 points with the 3-2 win. So they're neck and neck with, I think, Geelong Rangers up at the top of the Women's State 3. They have been a real revelation. They have been a fantastic team, and it's also the atmosphere that they create as well, engaging a lot of the younger girls and younger girl teams as well. Tell us a little bit more about their success today, Mark.
Oh, look, again, things happen for reasons. There wasn't a great start to the year for us in terms of where that team was sitting and how it wasn't settled. There was there was a little bit going in the background, and some will know what we're at. And obviously the club again stepped in to really understand that we needed to bed this down. In terms of the players and the whole coaching group, they've all bought in. They've just, they decided as a group that they were going to make this work. They formulated a complete process in and around mixing through from the 18, so really mixing the 18 squad in through to the women's squad. That's helped being in State 3, I've got to say to you, where it's been able to give them a chance to settle in, which is really good. Look, I don't know. I think if you put it out there in terms of positivity and organisation and execution, and really let your general manager and your TD do what they're asked to do, and bring everybody involved and make sure that everyone's heard. I mean, everyone can talk about equality in the game, football, especially. It's a hot topic with the senior men and senior women. We just all got to own it. I mean, it's not going to be the senior men at this stage, but it certainly has got the ability to do that. And, again, if everybody owns it and loves it and cherishes the hard commitment that these girls and women are putting through, you've got to take your hat off to it. They're sitting on top. Obviously, Geelong Rangers got a game in hand, but if you can look at our club and think, shit, do you reckon your senior men and senior women could be sitting on top of the ladder with 3 games to go in the seniors, and I think there's 5 games to go in the women? You'd sort of say to yourself, shit, great job done. Do you know what I mean? But then you talk about all the juniors and everything like that. I mean, look, you know what? You look at Santo Mamone. I mean, I know he's mentioned I've got to give him a shout out, but not because he said that. But you look at a club like Corio, who were literally, battling for relegation, and obviously the coach changed and things like that, and then the whole community got behind them and really were that extra person on the bench and really helped them as a club that can survive. And then we went to Clifton Hill, and I don't know, look, again, this is a short time for me. I was talking to a friend of yours. Am I loving the game? I'm understanding the game a little bit better. I really understand the huge amount of people that are involved. And you can't do it on your own, and you certainly can't do it on your own, and you certainly can't take all the great words or the crap words on your own. You really need to be able to, spread that amongst everybody. And look, shows like this, I mean, mate, we have the ability to have a voice. I don't know why clubs, and I'll say this again, just like you do, Tonchi, and I don't know why clubs just don't buy in enough to understand that actually this gives us have a listen to ENVER. Have a listen to the show previous to the week, the clubs that you profile and the stories that are told. Yeah. And, you enter your segment tonight by saying, 3 of the biggest clubs in Victorian football. Well, you know what? If we can't share that ability to try and, esteem to get there as a group and as a show and as a community, well, sometimes we need to look at ourselves. But again, you got to take. Last night it was pumping. We had the band, we had the supporters, we had the drums, we had the trumpet. Oh, guys, I can't tell you. It's like
Saturday night entertainment. There you go. Yeah,
unbelievable. But yeah, look, that's where we are at Georgie's, and we still love it, and we're loving it even more. And again, we hopefully will get there, not only for the club, but for the community. So, and, you know, for the diehard supporters that have really bought in, huge shout out to Hayden. I mean, love you, Haydo. You put this group of supporters together, and you're nice and loud, and the players are loving you, and the club's loving it all. And again, all George Cross and Maltese supporters, we're nearly there. We're on the rise. So keep supporting us. We love you.
Craig, have we got you there?
We have.
Ah, he's got it.
I'm listening, Pete.
Go for it, mate.
Can you hear me, guys, or not?
I'm like,
Yes.
badly.
Yes.
It's a bit of a
Yeah.
my thing.
Yeah, do the audio only. Do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark, listen, talk about the community and well over 1,000 people. We spoke over the last about the numbers of people that are coming. Obviously, that's built up what's happening on the field, but how important for support? There's a lot of people from other clubs there, people from Green Gully, people from Melbourne, other local clubs that we sort of get together to support more.
Yeah, look, again, I mean, you can't do it without your supporters. The players don't want to play in an environment that they don't have that support. They want to know that we own it and we love it. It's a huge, you look at Preston, I mean, guys, 4,000, 5,000, 3,000 people continuously. Have a look at the crowd that followed them to Melbourne City on the weekend. It is extremely important. Again, and that's why I say to all the other clubs out there, we put a show on. That we believe by what we do, getting the Maltese band at all our home games, by having the DJ, by having, you know, the announcements and all of the things that we do, we believe we put on a show. The expectation is that our senior men and senior women and the privileges that some of the junior groups getting by playing on the main pitch understand and buy in and bring everything together. All I love and all I expect and all I want is for the club to support itself, just the members alone. Like I said, we're a 40-team club. If you take one person from every team and you spread that word and you come and enjoy it, and they have. Last night was the culmination of an understanding that the club is starting to buy in, that we can get to the levels of Preston if we all buy in. The best part about having Preston do what they do is they set the benchmark, okay? That's what you want to do. You look at the people that you compete with on and off the pitch. Yes, you have your rivalry on the pitch, but whilst you're off the pitch, the relationship I have with David, Lou Toner, Pete from Brunswick City, you know, again, I'm only a new person to football, yet the ability to learn the people that I've sort of understand now and get help from. You know, Football Victoria, I mean, there's so much going on in the background, and the supporters are so important, and they is what we do this for. If it was no one there and there was no atmosphere and it was a boring old place, I don't think it'd be that enjoyable. So let me tell you, Sunday evening talking to you guys, there's a huge smile on my face because I think we really do understand and love what we do. So.
Well, Mark, we love what you do as well. There's no doubt about that. So thanks again for your time. Go and get some rest. You've got a very big few weeks coming up. A very big
3 weeks, everyone. Yes, huge.
Yeah.
And,
Speaking of big 3 weeks, probably in 2 weeks' time, we'll see you again because it's the 100th episode of Football Out West Show. We're hoping to do a massive 2-hour program live from Georgie's on Vista, and Mark will definitely be getting you on and on a time when it's not so rushed as tonight. But as you can understand, we've got so much to get through. We've got David SULTANA, good mate, out Preston Lions. He's ready to jump on. But in the meantime, Mark, thank you once again for joining us.
Absolutely, and a huge thanks to everybody, sponsors and all. We don't mean to miss anybody when we talk about and host programs like this, but it's a huge thank you to absolutely everybody involved. We're nearly there. Thank you very much.
Well done. Thanks, Mark, and all the best.
Good on you. I'm not sure if Craig's still there. Craig, we got you?
Yeah, tuning into the sick hotel reception is not very good. So
Well, we better try and get
obviously-
David Svetkowski from the Preston Lions on, if we can
Yeah,
get him
we're gonna-
out of the
let's-
green
let's
room
bring-
and on the screen.
Let's bring
And,
David straight onto the screen. David, how are you? Welcome to the Football Hour Show. Welcome back, in fact. It's great to have you again. We've had you recently. And, mate, first of all, on behalf of everyone here at the Football Hour Show, and I think on behalf of the Victorian football community, congratulations on earning promotion to NPL 2. How fantastic is that? That's great.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, and to all the people out there. Yeah, it's I'm going to probably take it one step back. Friday night was brilliant. We're not talking up the promotion too much, as nice as it is, because there's 2 games to go for a thing called a championship. Yeah, you know, Friday night was once again another showcase of our great product, our brand, as we ventured down to Dandenong, and a massive shout out to the people down at Dandenong City and Rob, the president, who I think enjoyed having us down there. I think we just might have clocked close to a couple of thousand people, as you can see down there, going 8 droppings.
Yeah.
As Jimmy scored the 80th minute goal. I think we went up once in the second half, and we managed to score. But I think more importantly for us as a club and the brand called Preston, today we celebrate, as we do, our reserves WVPL. So our women's reserves team today secured their championship, and as a club, we are so proud of our women's
Fantastic.
and men's program. So, you know, it just, yeah, as Mark said, you know, and I can't repeat, you know, and emphasize the importance of what Mark says. This is about building a football ecosystem where clubs, we work together to build our products. And, you know, I'll talk weekly to Mark, and I'll talk weekly to a lot of the presidents. I'll talk every week to the president, you know, wherever we're going, or the people, you know, the clubs we're playing against, because we're responsible for putting on a show. And if we can all work together, you know, a lot of people ask me, what are you doing down at Preston? We're simply building a product and you know, showcasing our brand. And fortunately, as Mark said, the supporters are liking that product and being entertained. We're in the entertainment game. It's very simple.
Absolutely, mate.
David, promotion to NPL 2, a couple of games left for the guys against Ballarat and Box Hill. The women doing so well. Another really big win today against Melbourne Uni. Promotion to the NPLW as well, is happening as well. Are those the key things that can drive the club up to the next level again from what it's already achieved in the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, we set out our plans, and I'm very fortunate this Tuesday night. You know, I've had it in the diary for a while, but I'll have 28 of our advisors, and we keep talking about our 2025 strategy, and that's the aim at Tuesday. So we're not deviating from our plan. We have a plan. We had a 2020 plan, and this is all a part of the plan. And as you look at that ladder up there, I made a pledge to an amazing woman called Di Pikolovsky, who's celebrating her 23rd year playing for our club. 23 years. And 5-6 years ago, I said, Di, we're going to make this women's program stand out, and we got to get it to the higher echelons of Victorian football, which at the moment is I guess the WNPL. And as we stand today, you can look at the ladder there. I think we're top of that's the reserves chart. So the girls have won the reserves league, but also that's a game clear with plus, I think that's 27 goals with one game to go. One game to go in the women's, senior women. So the next 3 weeks, I love Mark talking about the Maltese bands. I think every Macedonian band that we can find over the next couple of weeks will be booked out, and we'll be partying. I think looking at the dates, the 13th, we've got Ballarat at home. So we'll start there. Then we'll go to the 20th. I think we're home again, away to Box Hill. So this is what it's about. It's about our people being a part of the journey, and our people being given the opportunity to celebrate. That's why we play this. Yeah.
Now, David, last week we had the president. We mentioned this. We had the president of Brunswick Juventus, Dominic Montesano. They are a club with a rich history. They're undergoing a name change, but above all, they've got a renaissance. They're feeling a renaissance within the club. We've spoken to Mark now from Caroline Springs, George Cross, another club, a big club of yesteryear that's really undergoing its own form of resurrection, renaissance, however you want to call it. They're going to be back in the NPL next year. Obviously, we've got South Melbourne coming up straight after this as well. Mate, all these Victorian clubs, they're starting to undergo this kind of like reawakening, if you like. The National Second Division, does this augur well for the National Second Division? Or realistically speaking, this might sound a bit controversial, do we want, Preston to be playing, I don't know, Adamstown, Rosebud or Campbelltown? Do we want rather instead a super NPL Victoria competition? Is that the way to go? What do we really need? Because obviously we've got to take into account, things like expenses and interstate travel and things like that. I can see in 2, 3, 5 years' time, the Victorian competition being, well, it is just as exciting now than the A-League, in fact, probably more interesting. What are your thoughts on all of that, looking at the 2025 plan?
If you look at all these clubs, that you speak of, and I think most of these clubs, we're all actually talking with each other and supporting each other, and I'm privy to some information, and I've got to be careful where we go on this one, but there will be a national second division. Australia needs a footballing ecosystem that's connected, where we all can fulfill our aspirations. These clubs and the thought leaders at all of these clubs will need to make their decisions based on their own predicaments of whether it is a viable option. For my club, Preston, our plan is to present our club at the highest level possible. And if we are deemed to be a club that the FA wants in this competition, whatever it's called, where we get the opportunity to travel around the country and present our brand playing against the best clubs selected, we will review that, and we are an ambitious club, and that is a part of our ambition. However, we can't forget where we came from, because it's been a hard journey. The last 3 to 4 years have been even harder, but we are on a journey where we just need to be ambitious and keep delivering for our supporters and sponsors. 105 sponsors. They back us in every year, and they have expectations. Otherwise, you lose them. We don't have one major sponsor that just goes bang and covers all expenses. And football clubs can't exist off one sponsor. So we're very fortunate and we need to engage with our supporters, with our sponsors, to keep this momentum up. But I hope I've answered it. Our aspiration.
You have. It's got me personally excited. It really is an exciting time. And the next, as I said, 3 to 5 years, Australian football, I think, is undergoing, not just these major clubs here in Victoria, but Australian football, I think, is going to undergo an exciting change. Steve, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, David, I wanted to ask about the big 75th anniversary celebration that took place earlier this year. I don't know if there's any other clubs that would be able to have the capacity to have such a glitzy and glamorous and well-attended and popular sold-out function. Tell us a little bit about that, and how proud you were as a president of a club that can pull off something that people really want to be a part of, celebrating so much.
Yeah, it's as I said, I keep saying that, build a product. We're in the entertainment game, and we're very fortunate that in 14 hours we sell 400 tickets at, I think, $220. And I just scratched my head. Why do we do it? Why do we do it? I have no choice. The only thing Mrs. SVETKOVSKI asked for is to get dressed up once a year and go somewhere special. So
guilty versus the one stone.
Yeah, I booked us in at Crown, and under the cover of "Hey Love, we're going to Crown for the weekend." I think she jammed on quite early when I said it's Preston's 75th anniversary, and but what's that night about? That night is about celebrating the club and celebrating the pioneers and the volunteers and the people who have bled for this club. And when you get, we had the likes of Warren Spink walk in, Phil Trinides, and Di Pikolovsky with 23 years of service walk in, and people standing with tears in their eyes. That's the product. There's no, that if it's hollow, no one will come. No one will come. So it's an absolute buzz. This club is just on a buzz. I don't think people leave now till 1, 2 in the morning post game. They're not leaving. They're just sitting there. Some people have their own little wine clubs. They'll sit and get a bottle of red wine and enjoy a red wine. 35%, I think, the last home game, female attendance. It's a Friday night. People go, we're looking at when to play games. I can't play games on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Everyone's got kids playing. I'll lose the volume. So it'll be interesting because for the very first time in 2 weeks' time on the Saturday, we're playing on a Saturday night at 6 o'clock. So
is that an intentional experiment?
Yes, we're looking at what we're doing next year, and we will be experimenting with the Friday, Saturday night. I mean, I'm going out to see my good mate Lou Tone and give him a hug before Pascoe Vale plays tomorrow night. It'll be interesting because I love going down to Bulleen on a Monday night. It's 5 minutes down the road. So how do the clubs work together to, you look at the AFL some days, Thursday to Monday, and they position it well, they brand it well, because shows like yours, most games being streamed, what is it going to look like in 2 years? What's it going to look like?
I mean, we may laugh about this, David, but I know of people that have actually said to me that they tune into the Football Out West show or the Geelong Region Soccer show because it sort of cuts the time before their next weekend. And they just, one weekend's finished, they can't wait for the next weekend. So I think we're all football tragics, to be honest. But, mate, my biggest concern is what's going to happen in 3-4 weeks' time when the season finishes. And the preseason, the longest preseason in the world, who's going to handle it? As someone said, well, that's when you start talking to your wife. Okay.
I'm fortunate enough to spend most days with my coaches, Dan Fodden and Louis Artsevsky. Trust me, there's no off season anymore, guys. The team is already we'll be building our 2023 team starting effectively immediately. We have 4 major announcements this week. We're trying to get our timing right, but as a club, we'll have some major announcements this week. We're being very transparent with our supporters and sponsors, and we'll continue to grow. There's no rest. There's no rest for the wicked guys anymore, especially with the juniors and the participation and even the appetite from parents now. For kids. The kids can't be playing this game for 6 months during winter. That means they're not playing for 6 months. So we're going to need to look at how we reduce that gap for kids. Yes, they do need a break and they need some strategic breaks, but we need to keep offering products for our children because there's a massive appetite at the moment.
Well, speaking of massive appetites, David, the sooner we can get Preston, Caroline Springs, George Cross, Brunswick Juventus back up into the elite division here, my goodness me, we will need a EPL-style 40-week season because it is going to be absolutely awesome.
Maltese bands, Macedonians bands playing together Saturday night.
The festive lark is around Chavape. Mate, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for joining us. Wishing you and Preston all the very best, and we look forward to. We can't wait for 2023. The sooner the better. We haven't even finished 2022 already.
Thank you to all of you, and to your co-host who's up there. I don't know what he's doing, sunbaking and doing all that stuff. He must be getting paid too much by Mark Sultana, the boss.
Correct.
He's enjoying making us all jealous. Good night, David. Thank you.
Congratulations to all. Thanking you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Dave. All the best.
David SULTANA, another president who is always more than welcome and a very, very welcome guest. But Steve, for the first time, we're going to venture over the Westgate Bridge east, and we're going to now be talking to a president of, well, arguably, and some would say without doubt, the biggest club in Victoria. They are truly a super club. It's South Melbourne that we're talking about. And we're going to now introduce the president there, Nick MAIKOUSIS. I hope I've said that correctly. Nick, big welcome to the Football Out West show. And first time appearance on the show. We welcome you with open arms. Thank you for being a part of our show.
Guys, thanks for the invitation. Can you hear me clearly?
Absolutely, we can.
Crystal
thank you
clear,
very
Nick.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Nick,
That's
South Melbourne, a big club. It's let's say it's the biggest club here in Victoria. It is a super club. Let's talk about the NPL first. On top of the ladder, not the result you wanted over the weekend against Port Melbourne Sharks, but nonetheless, with 2 rounds to go, sitting pretty on top of the competition standings. As president, what's your assessment of the season been so far?
I'm delighted with the year, given the stop-start nature of the competition in the last few years. As you know, I was overseas and I flew back specifically for this game, hopefully having to celebrate something at the end of last night, but that didn't quite happen, and that's football. Port were the better side, and there's certainly an informed team at the moment. And whilst we were ahead, unfortunately, we conceded a couple of goals. And that, again, as you said, that's football. 2 rounds to go. I think we're 5 points clear. So it's still very much in our destiny, in our hands.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's look at the women's side of the program, I suppose, there at Lakeside. And it hasn't been as good a season in the home and away competition, but there is a big date this Sunday coming up, the Nike FC Cup final. Do you think that the girls will be very primed for this match against Calder United at the Valley Park Event Centre on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I think so. There's no doubt this season on the women's side wasn't exactly what we had anticipated, given the dominance that we had up until the season was shut down last year. So the girls, it'll be certainly a challenge, but the girls have done particularly well. There's been a coaching change there as well. So we'll be all there to support our women's. As you know, the women's part of our business is an important part of our business, and hence why we often have double headers. Our women, senior women, followed by our senior men.
Now, we've just had a look at the ladder there, 8-team competition, expanding to 12 teams next year. Preston, as we saw, as we spoke earlier to David SULTANA, they are another club that's coming up. So another one of the super clubs, and there aren't that many of the clubs that have a men's team and a women's team in the elite division. Heidelberg's one there that comes to mind, Box Hill United as well. Next year, the Women's World Cup is going to be held here in Australia. Obviously, a lot of games that are going to be played on our doorstep, and that will surely generate a lot of interest in the women's game. What are the plans as far as South Melbourne is concerned to really capitalise on some of that interest and maybe to take the women's side to another level?
Well, I think certainly it's been important for us for many years. So this isn't new to us. There's no doubt that we want to introduce a women's program that eventually it becomes a completely free program, and that's hard. But the reality is that certainly on the overall club basis, we're at record sponsorship levels these days. We signed a major new sponsor only a month or two ago. That's probably the biggest in the club's history, and I've been involved in the club. I was vice president during the old NSL days. So dollar for dollar, we're raising significant levels of revenue to be able to fund these additional programs. As you probably know, we also run our All Abilities program, which is our power chair teams, our blind football teams. These are all important parts of what we give back to the community. And so, yes, everyone considers South to be a powerhouse, but we still do lots of grassroots stuff, such as I said, the blind football, our power chair teams, and women is an important part of our program.
Now, Nick, looking at fan engagement, you mentioned that the big double headers that you like to have at Lakeside. You've got one coming up for your next home men's match. You've got the women playing Heidelberg beforehand before your big match where you're looking to get the win and seal the title against Dandenong City later in the evening. What sort of numbers do we think we can expect to see there at that match at Lakeside?
Well, it's interesting. I just had, I've been approached to get our reserves team on there as well, because they're also playing for the for their premiership as well. So we could have some multiple celebrations on Saturday night. So it may be, to be confirmed, it may be a triple header.
Wow.
On that particular evening. So look,
watch this space.
The supporters have started to believe again. We've had a few, by our standards, poor years, and the football that we're playing now is very effective and has been delivering for us. So we it depends often in winter with weather, but certainly live streaming affects us, but we've always believed in live streaming anyway of football. It just expands to greater markets for us. So, and well before we had NPL TV, we used to have SMFC TV and do lots of live games ourselves. So, no, we're expecting a great crowd.
Now, we've had Nick Galatis on the program previously on many, many occasions, and Nick being the chairman of AA Australian Association of Football Clubs. And he was saying, going on about the National Second Division, some of the bigger clubs, like he mentioned Melbourne Knights in particular, they're playing like more or less operating in second gear, third gear, waiting for the National Second Division to kick off, and then they would go full throttle. Clubs like Caroline Springs, George Cross, clubs like Preston, no doubt, are in the same boat. South Melbourne, would you say that you're in the same boat? You're just waiting for the next to be developed, and that second division, and then it's just going to go full throttle, no holds back, then to see the full power and might of South Melbourne operating. Is that a fair assumption?
Look, it's a reasonable assumption. There's no question about that. We look at in our budgeting, our modelling, in terms of second division. It's all about adding additional resources to the business, rather than having volunteer boards. You've got to pay for resources to get work done. And whilst we do have full-time resources at our club, we're fortunate. We certainly plan to build that, and so that's going to be a significant increase in the budget in terms of expense. But that's how you further professionalise the business. And and you're absolutely right, guys. And whilst I don't want to go on about the old NSL days, because we've been in the wilderness for 20 odd years now. In 2004, we're coming off the back of representing Australia in the World Club Championships. Played Manchester United, Vasco da Gama, and within a few years we're out of the competition altogether. That's the part that's probably been most difficult for most South people to accept. Is I'm not sure South did a lot wrong not to be part of new football at that point in time. Having said that, we've also applied for a couple of licenses over the years, also attempted to buy a couple of A-League franchises over many years. So we won't be applying for any A-League or unless we're invited to join. We certainly have no intention of ever applying for the A-League. The B-League or the National Second Division, as previous president said, whatever it's going to be called, will be our channel, our funnel to get back to the highest level in Australia again. So that's our absolute focus, is the National Second Division.
That's super exciting, Nick. If you were to stick your neck out and put a time frame, when do you think you could realistically see the boys in blue and white running around in a national-based second division and A-League 2 per se, or something like that?
Yeah, there's been a bit of conversation take place about that. It may be next year. If I was a betting man, I'd add another year onto that. We've waited a long time. Another year won't necessarily hurt us too much. As much as I would love it to commence immediately, the FA who have ploughed themselves lots of resources into this as well, because they've realised the opportunity that actually exists to really unite our game again.
Yes, absolutely.
New football and old soccer and all whatever terms you want, whatever jargon you want to use, to bring us back together. And all of a sudden, it'll breathe life into the A-League, because your South supporters that will not follow the A-League, all of a sudden will be watching that competition, see who's eventually potentially in relegation zones. So I think it's a wonderful initiative, and it will happen. And people that you've spoken about that I've heard about already, including Mark from Caroline Springs, Georgie's, the old Sunshine George Cross. I'm not sure I'm allowed to call that.
Old habits die hard. It's sometimes hard. I always sort of get tongue-tied and say Sunshine George Cross. Exactly right. But absolutely.
I think there was Sunshine City merged with George Cross at some point in time and became. I'm a Sunshine boy. I was born and bred there in Sunshine, so I'm from the West originally, anyway.
Well, that's why we've got you on the Football Out West show. Of course, that's right.
I'm sure I had an uncle playing for Sunshine City back in those days.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of the West, a big shout out to State League 3 side, Greek Westvale Olympic, Greek side that have secured the State League 3 title in the northwest section of the state. Congratulations to them. Nick, all the very best to you and to South Melbourne. Listening to yourself, listening to David from Preston, Mark from George Cross, mate, like I said, super excited about what promises to be a very, very exciting 3 to 5 years in Australian soccer over the next few years. So, mate, looking forward to hearing some unbelievable stuff happening in that corner, in that sort of area. And we look forward to South Melbourne's contribution to, once again, making football the biggest sport in Australia.
Gents, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Anytime. You've got my number, and happy to share our thoughts on NSD or any other topic that you may have.
Absolutely.
That sounds good. Let's do it. Yeah.
Right.
Sounds good. Good on you, Nick.
Nick.
Wishing you all the best for the rest of the season. And, big celebration coming your way in the next few weeks. No doubt capturing the NPL Victoria title. Good on you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a massive show that was tonight, Steve. Goodness me. Some great comments coming through. Thank you so much to everyone who has been a part of tonight's show. I think, look, just very, very looking at it very, very quickly, like as I say, sort of over like a, what do they call it? A helicopter overview. It looks like they were the
a drone
best
view,
numbers.
maybe you're in the drone.
Yeah. Oh, I can't talk how excited I am. By the way, that is not wine. That is cranberry juice. So if anyone is thinking, what is he drinking on a Sunday night?
I was waiting for Santino to write vino in the comments there. Yeah.
No, the kids took all the glasses, so I had to find a wine glass. Yeah. We're back tomorrow, 8 p.m. For the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Should be a great show. We'll be looking at a lot of juniors, grassroots talent, some very, very talented youngsters coming up in Geelong. That's what tomorrow's show is all about. But Steve, mate, have a good night. Have a good start to the week. And we'll see Craig next Sunday for episode 99 as we get closer to that episode 100. Stay tuned for next week, folks. We will have more details about what we're planning for the 100th episode. So thank you for joining us. And on that note, good night, folks.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.